Hey, Roger, you got a big tour of Canada coming up.
Well, a little tour.
Right. The important cities, though.
The important cities of the West, which I love, yeah.
When was the last time you were here?
Boy, Edmonton's been a few years now, I think. 2006, I think, was last time.
What is the setup like for this tour? Is it full band or just you solo piano, or what's up?
I'm bringing a full band this time, and they're a great band. They're really sounding good. We've just done a couple of shows in Southern California, and it's sounding really good. So
Who's in the band?
people are in for a treat. Well, Aaron McDonald, who I've been touring with for 7 years now, the multi-instrumentalist, sax player, and actually 3 Canadians and 1 American.
Oh, Canadian, nice.
Yeah. Something about you Canadians, I like it. And you're easy to get on with. I think that's what I like.
What do you play more of live, piano or guitar?
I play keyboard, a 12-string guitar, and grand piano.
Which instrument came first for you?
Guitar, I started when I was 12, and then the piano I started when I was about 16.
What led you to the piano? Because at a young age like that, a lot of kids seem to rebel against the piano.
Well, yeah, I did too, but it was the only way I could get access to taking piano lessons at school was the only way I could get access to a piano so I could start doing my own thing. So I was pretending to learn the classical pieces they were trying to get me to play, but meanwhile I was writing my own stuff and developing my own style.
I wonder about your voice, too, because it's so distinct and it's perfect live now still. It's really stayed intact. What do you do to keep your voice on par? I mean, it's been a long time since those records were made.
You know, it keeps on going. It's amazing. It's better than ever. I really don't do anything except, I mean, I live healthily. I mean, I take care of myself. What I've noticed is that how my voice sounds is really dependent on what's happening inside me. And if I'm good in my heart, in my spirit, then my voice sings like a bird. And when I'm stressed or lack of sleep or unhappy or whatever, my voice really, you can tell. So I think so much is the state of mind, state of heart. It really affects the voice.
And you're feeling good these days?
These days I'm feeling great. You know, I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm having more fun than I ever have. I have to say I'm enjoying playing concerts more now than I ever have in my life.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think just because I've learned how to enjoy myself and not get too caught up in it all. And I just enjoy giving. And I feel very comfortable on stage, which was not always the case. And I love talking to people. I love talking to audiences. I love to create good vibes and make people happy. I mean, I have the best job in the world, and I have some great songs to sing that I still love, and people obviously still love, and they have a really strong relationship with because they've been listening to them for most of their lives. A lot of people. So it's a wonderful chemistry to be able to offer people now.
You mentioned some of those songs, and just before we got on the phone here, Linda was telling me that Supertramp just announced a tour of Canada for this summer.
Yeah, that's. I just got that news. That's quite interesting.
What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel?
Well, unfortunately, it happened last year too. I was in Europe and Supertramp announced, and unfortunately, people don't know who or what Supertramp is. Rick Davis owns the trademark Supertramp, and he's put together a different group of musicians each time when he's gone out on tour. This time it is with John and Bob, but the one thing that's happening that I'm not too crazy about, or I'm not happy about at all actually, is that they are performing 7 of my songs sung by a sideman. And they're not letting the audience know that that's going to happen ahead of time. So there's a lot of disappointed fans coming away from the concerts. In Europe, I just spoke to fan after fan after fan who expressed their disappointment to me, that how disappointed they were going to the show and not seeing me there and not hearing my voice. And these songs are so personal to me that it's very hard for people who love my songs to be fooled in that way, and that's really what's happening. So I don't know how they're going to advertise this tour in Canada, but if the radio stations start advertising, you know, if you hear Supertramp tour advertised with my song, Logical Song, or Breakfast in America, or School, or Dreamer, or It's Raining Again, or whatever, on the radio, then, you know, there's a certain amount of duping that's happening because I'm not going to be there with the tour.
And that's why I'm really happy you're on the phone right now, because we're letting people know, you know, we're clearing the air a little bit, letting people know exactly what is happening with the Supertramp tour. I guess Just in the sense that you won't be there. I thought legally, though, I thought that was part of the agreement. They couldn't play your songs anymore.
Well, there was an agreement. When I left Supertramp, obviously it was a very pivotal decision for me because I put 14 years of my life into the band. And I did actually, Rick and I shook hands, and, it was very, very clear that Rick was going to take the name, but the name was going to become a vehicle for his music and his songs going forward. And I would begin a solo career with my voice and my songs, and that's how the future would unfold. And that's the way it was for about 8 years. Rick did a tour with Supertramp and playing all his songs, and it was fine. But then the subsequent tour, he started playing 3 of my songs, and I felt very betrayed when that happened. And you can imagine I don't feel too good about the fact that now it's a third of the show is my songs being played. So it makes it very difficult for Rick and I to come together in any shape or form when that's going on.
Well, let's get to a happier topic then.
Yeah.
Well, your last solo disc, it was great. But it was 11 years ago. Are you writing? Can we expect any new material from you in the near future?
I'm always writing, and I have a huge backlog of material, so I hope at some point, if you come to see the show, you'll hear 1 or 2 new songs.
Oh, nice.
And that's the way I'm introducing them at the moment. And at some point, I'll probably put together an album, or I don't know what it is, what it'll be nowadays, because there's so many new mediums. Maybe I'll just start putting the songs up on the internet. I don't know, but I'd like to get these songs out.
You bring up an interesting point. How do you feel about that? I mean, you grew, you guys used to release vinyl, records. I don't even know if kids know what records anymore are, even.
Yeah. Well, there's pros and cons to it. I mean, I love the new technology. There's things I like about it and the things I don't. I mean, I always used to put together albums like a 40-minute listening experience. That's the way I thought of them. How can I take people on a journey for 40 minutes? Well, people don't even listen to music for 40 minutes nowadays, very rarely. It's a much more immediate, fast-paced world we live in, and people want song by song. So times are changing in a lot of different ways, and that's a huge discussion in itself. I think the thing I'm saddest about, most concerned about, really, is that it's very hard for new talent to find sponsorship in today's world, and that's what the record companies really were. They were patrons or sponsors of, for all their faults, they were the ones that sponsored new artists and allowed them to develop. And we don't get that to a large degree nowadays. The record companies are fighting for survival, and they don't have the budgets, they don't have the ability to invest and take time or allow an artist to develop over time and sponsor them financially. It's a hard world. Basically the American Idol type shows or Canadian Idol type shows are about one of the few places where young artists can try to attract attention and make a career for themselves, which is a very sad state of affairs.
Yeah, you mentioned in there Canadian Idol, and you mentored some of the Canadian Idols a few years ago. You shot a DVD here in this country. You tour here pretty often as well. You seem to have a real kinship with our country, like an infatuation. Why do you love us so much?
Well, I love Canada. I love Canadians. I love the mentality up there. It's a beautiful country and wonderful people, and I've always felt very home with Canadians. And as I said, I've got 3 Canadians in my band. I love working with them, and I don't know. You seem to have the best of the North American mentality, but also some European mentality too. You have a nice mixture, and yet you're your own identity too. I mean, it's more sane up there. I don't know. I just feel very at home in Canada, and obviously Canada has really taken me and my songs to their heart. I mean, I know at one point 1 in every 15 Canadians had Breakfast in America in their collection, and Crime of the Century. So obviously, there's a huge relationship there based on the music I've created in the past, and it's still going on. I mean, it's still very current. These songs have not aged, and so I get asked to come up and play concerts all the time, and I'm very, very happy about that. I'm very happy to be coming to Edmonton again. It's a wonderful city.
I was hoping I can get a couple of sound bits from you about some of the songs that we play here on the station.
Uh-huh.
Let's start with Breakfast in America, because you just mentioned the record.
Well, Breakfast in America was I wrote when I was about 17 or 18 on a pump organ that I just bought. I think it was the first song I wrote on it. And definitely, it still makes me smile today. I don't know where that song came from, but I think the whole song, there's a couple of lines in the song. I'm playing my jokes upon you while there's nothing better to do. I think I was just playing with words, and this melody came into my head, and I'm not even sure I had a girlfriend in that time. But obviously, if I did have a girlfriend, I don't think she was my girlfriend after she heard that song. But it's a fun song, and people still love it today.
Speaking of playing with words, the Logical song.
The Logical song, yeah, that was a really a fun song to put together. But it's also got a very profound message too, and very true to me and my life, and true to I think a lot of people's experiences. I mean, we are sent away to school to be taught how to be, sensible and logical and intellectual and cynical, but ultimately we're really not taught the deeper questions in life, and we're not given any tools to function as who we truly are. And I think that's the missing question. Tell me who I am is a very deep question. And ironically, it's the song that's been very heavily quoted in schools. So it's funny it came full circle like that. But the Logical song was a song that I'm still very proud of, and I love to sing even today.
Give a little bit.
Give a Little Bit is a song that's really taken on a life of its own. It's funny, when I wrote it, I just thought, wow, it's such a simple song. I didn't even play it to the band for about 6 years, and but now it's a song that has really become an anthem and become even more important in its message, I think, today than even when I wrote it. I mean, we are really living in times where we do need to start giving more and thinking about giving more rather than what we can get out of life, because we're living in pretty precarious times, and we really need to pull together. And Give a Little Bit is really conveys that spirit in a very beautiful way.
We do something on the show called 5 Questions. 5 quick questions, 1-word answers.
Mm-hmm.
Road or studio?
Road.
Lennon or McCartney?
Lennon.
Most important thing in a song, lyrics, melody, or rhythm?
Melody.
Song you've written you're most proud of?
Ooh. Fool's Overture.
And in 1 word, Roger Hodgson.
Minstrel.